So ESPN just put out their annual top 100 players going into the current NBA season. People mostly agree since they almost always just pay attention to who's in the top 10 or find their favorite player. This year will probably be the same, but I thought I'd give my opinion on the list that this panel of experts
are analysts that don't include basketball players did this list.
I have to agree with RJ there. Why don't they use former players turn analysts on their staff? I'm going to run down the top 10 on this list and then give my thoughts on a few that I thought were very erroneous in the top 100. So as you can see, here's the top 10. Going from 10 to 1, we have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Do I have any issues with those? Not really. I was almost sure Jokic would get the top spot due to Giannis' first round exit, but I do agree that I believe overall, Giannis is just a tad bit above Jokic. But I wouldn't have been mad at playoff Jokic getting the top spot. The rest, I might drop Luka down a bit for having a shaky end to his season, but that would be kind of nitpicking. I have a sneaky feeling there will be some people that do not think LeBron James should be in the top 10. In fact, he didn't make the top 15 on Hoops Hype's list. However, I'm going to side with James and ESPN on this one. Sweeping the conference finals aside, LeBron had a heck of a season in 2023 for a 38-year-old, and really for any age because he led his team in scoring, even with another top 10 and much younger player on the court with him in Anthony Davis. Here's another fun fact. AD actually played one more game than LeBron last year. So we can't say it's because AD barely played. The rest I can live with. The interesting thing is how the top 3 players considered by the experts to be the best are big men. Are we seeing a resurgence of the dominating center/power forward like we did throughout the 90s and into the 2000s? Well, we'll see. Now to my issues within the 11 through 100 ranking. Now, I understand he's suspended and had a rocky season last year, but there was absolutely no way that Ja Morant is number 35 out of the 100 best players going into 2024. That's just ridiculous. Penalize him all you want for his off-the-court transgressions, but place him anywhere outside of the top 15 is just erroneous on a whole other level. I'll state it bluntly. A player that was an all-star, averaged 26.2 points per game, 8.1 assists per game, and helped lead his team to the number 2 spot in a tough Western Conference isn't in the top 15, let alone top 20. That's just ignorant. And I feel he was put there for his suspensions and not for his gameplay. Shame on them. Paul George being number 18 while Kawhi Leonard is number 24 is baffling to me as well. Let's just be honest. PG-13 only played 4 more games last year and played 0 of the postseason. Still, he and Kawhi averaged the same 23.8 points a game. Maybe the experts are pulling from some of his other stats, but Kawhi out-rebounded him last season, and George was only a slightly better distributor, and they were pretty much even at steals and blocks. So how is PG-13 6 spots ahead? Maybe because Kawhi was hit with another injury during the playoffs, but now he's on the mend. I just don't see how George cracks the top 20 and Kawhi doesn't with a pretty similar stat line. But I'm not an expert. Donovan Mitchell at number 15 is fine, but I thought he had a really breakout season with the Cavs. In fact, I thought the Cavs would have been a sneaky contender in the playoffs last season, but they kind of fizzled. Averaging 28.3 last season and 1.5 steals, I can't argue that he's definitively better than the 14 ahead of him, but I'd say wouldn't have been mad if he cracked top 10. Zion Williams at number 57. When he was on pace to possibly be in the top 10 scoring, I still led the Pelicans in scoring through the 29 games he was able to play. I get it. He's injury prone, and we haven't really seen him get through an entire season. But if I was given the option as a GM to have either Zion or DeAndre Ayton, who came in at 49, I think I'm taking Zion, gamble or not. Here's hoping for a full season of the big guy in the NO. Finally, while I'm not a fan of Chris Paul, CP3 at number 76 is just crazy. Even with Father Time creeping up on him these last few seasons, he still had a solid season last year as he's begun the Jason Kidd-style transition from being a viable scorer to being much less of a scorer and leaning heavy into his point guard role. He averaged a respectable 13.9, pretty much 14 points. And rounding up from 8.9, he averaged 9 assists last season. CP3 just has this curse of getting injured in the playoffs, so maybe that bumped him down so much, but I really don't think his fall off has been that substantial. I'm interested to see how his game translates to the Golden State Warriors. While he's not top 20 or even 40, I believe he could have been in the 50s over some of the guys ahead of him. So those are all of my biggest gripes, but what about you guys? Do you think these rankings were at least in the ballpark, or do you have an issue with anyone's placement? Let me know in the comments section. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel as we are on the path to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all for watching and be back soon with more content.